You're listening to Discovering You Again Radio with Susan Axelrod. Women facing down the second half of life. Who are you putting first? Have you reached an age where you've seen it all, but still know there's more? Is life part 2 sneaking up on you? Look inside yourself and buckle up. We're just getting started. Don't settle for being comfortable in your skin. Break free and be radiant, inspired, confident, and abundant. These are your years. Take them and stop apologizing. Attack the second half of life with a purpose. Discovering You Again Radio with Susan Axelrod starts now.
Welcome, 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 folks. Welcome to Discovering You Again Radio. I am delighted you're here. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little surprised I'm here. I have a lot going on in my life right now, and I wasn't sure that I would make it. This is relevant to my topic today, putting yourself on the list. Can you see me if you're watching me on Facebook Live, pounding my hand together, or you can hear me, putting yourself on the list. Today's show is going to be epic. I promise you. It is just you and me today. You right there in your personal space, wherever you're listening. I want you to know I am speaking directly to you today, and me right here in my space, speaking directly from my heart today. I'm going to warn you, there may be tears today. When you're in the second half of life and you've got a lot going on and you are discovering yourself again, sometimes tears flow. I'll fill you more in on that in a minute. What I want to know is, am I being tested? Why? Why am I being tested? You know, I am a coach. I'm a personal coach, a life coach. I call myself a confidence coach. I teach, take a breath. What is Susan's golden rule? My golden rule: get okay with being okay. Get yourself to a space where you can just breathe and get the shoulders down and take a breath and get okay with where you are. So, what's happening now? When things like this happen to me, when I find myself back in a state that is old for me, it's familiar, but it's old. I think that I'm being tested so that I can be better, so that I'm able to be a better person, a better coach, and a better transformational leader and speaker. Today we are talking about putting yourself back on the list. What list? Now, if you follow me on Facebook, this might be a little bit of repetition for you, but I don't care. I'm talking about this because it is important. What list am I talking about? I'm talking about your list of things that are important to you, your list of things that feed you, that fill you, that really speak directly to your soul, your list of the place where you focus your attention. You look with your eyes, you feel with your heart and your energy. That's the list I'm talking about. Do you know that list? Do you recognize the list that I'm talking about? If you're sitting there thinking, wow, Susan's a little excited today, you're right. I am excited today because this is important and it's coming up for me all over the place. And I'm wondering if you're listening to this radio show today or by podcast archive in the archive, if it's relevant for you too. Putting yourself on the list. Do you even realize, that there is a list anymore? Do you even realize that you might have fallen off your list? I hope not. I hope that you're aware, that you realize these things. But in case you're so far gone that you didn't realize it, That's what I'm here to tell you today. There is a list. It's a list for your attention, your time, your heart, your soul, your very being. And I want to invite you to put yourself back on the list. Why? Because we need all hands on deck right now more than ever. This week has been an historic week with young people marching for the environment, 14-year-olds talking to the Congress or the United Nations. Things are happening all over the place. Where are you? What are you doing? This material, this idea that I'm speaking with you about today has come to me because of many people I know, either personally or professionally, who are feeling in an overwhelmed, anxious state. What comes from being in an overwhelmed and anxious state for too long is what? Numbness, getting numb, numbing ourselves to the tragedies that we are seeing every day. You can't turn on the news without seeing these tragedies happening right in your own communities and all over the world. It's too much. It's too much. I know. I feel it. I honestly don't watch the news anymore. I did not even know that there were millions of youth marching across the world until the day, late in the day, the evening of. I'm protecting myself. I feel like I'm protecting my heart. But I can do that because I am in awareness. I know what my list is, and I'm committed to keeping myself on my list. So, my audience for this radio show, Discovering You Again, middle aged women. Yes, that's what we are. I'm not afraid to say it, and I no longer deny it. I may have for a little while, but I am firmly, squarely situated in that space right now. And I got to tell you, I love it. I don't like the wrinkles that I'm finding on my face. I got to be honest about that. I feel like I don't know what's happening to me, but I feel like the wrinkles are exponentially growing. But that's just my ego and vanity. I park her over there when I need to. But aside from that, I love being in the space where I am in charge of my life and myself. I no longer have to be all things to all people. Now, I can choose whatever I want. I can choose to be all things to all people. I can choose to do too much, but I can choose to do less. As I talked about in my Facebook Live. If you follow my daily Facebook television broadcast, that's what I call it, my daily live at 5. Friends, let's step up. Let's take responsibility for our own lives so that we can help with the responsibility of our world for our children and their children, or even if it's more comfortable for you, just for today. I'll go further still, just for this moment. Why? Those of you who follow me, you know what I'm going to say. Everything starts from this moment. We move from this moment to the next moment. I know that you've heard that from me before. I don't care. I'm going to say it as often as I need. First, I want to explore, how did we fall off the list? What happened? Well, what would you expect, friends? Really, what would you expect? You've been doing for others for decades, haven't you? Haven't you been doing for them and doing for them and doing for them and doing for them, just giving of yourself? If you've tuned into my radio show before, you know that I talk about the result of that doing, and giving is self depletion. And my body of work is about soul connecting, which is how we refill, we replete, we replenish in order to live in healthy self awareness and achieve self actualization. I really do understand. You do want to continue to support your children, your spouse, and now, like me, possibly, maybe even probably your aging parents. I understand that's really who you want to be. I also want to ask you, why would you think that after so long of being low down on the totem pole, that you would suddenly be able to rise to the top or rise to the top of your list? When someone calls, you answer. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the case? I ask you. When someone calls, you answer. I'm repeating myself. Isn't that true? I want to ask you to think about that question yourself. I am here today on this radio show speaking directly from my heart to you to say, I'm calling you. And I'm asking you to call on yourself. Call on yourself to do better for yourself. Yes, my voice is rising. I'm getting agitated. I really mean it. It's important, folks. If we don't come out of our numb state of being, if we don't commit to ourselves again, put ourselves higher on the list, raise our own expectations of ourselves to do better. I'm not saying do more. I'm not saying do more. I'm saying do better. I'm not here to tell you what that means for you. I'm here to hopefully inspire you to ask yourself the question, what does this mean for you? What does that mean for you? Later in our show, I'm going to be talking in our next segment. I'm going to be talking about a tool. I'm going to share right here in real time a tool with you on well being. And then later, we'll close that out and move forward and see where you are going to be going from there. So let's let's take a moment to take a breath and come down, and we are going to go to break. And while we're in break, I want to ask you to ask yourself the question, what about me? Is it my turn now? So when we come back, we're going to review the tool on well-being, and I can't wait. Thank you. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, friends, we're back. Are you still with me? I hope I didn't lose you from my excitability today. I'm serious today, folks. When I say this is epic, I mean it. It is time. It is time to get yourself into your own self awareness space to figure out what your own self actualization is and then take action. This is something I teach. It's going to be the whole last chapter of my book. Maybe I'll do that for another radio show. I have something called the Action Agenda that I can help you do that with. But here's why. Some of you who know me know my father had a fall last week and he ended up in the hospital. We were so lucky. He did not have to have a surgery, but he did break a rib. And as a result, he was not able to come home. He was discharged to a rehabilitation center. The rehab center did not have a bed on the rehab floor. So he ended up on a nursing care floor because, of course, they're also a nursing home. And so for the last week, we have had this experience of supporting a loved one in rehab with an absolute goal and intention of getting him home. Dad is 91. He is of more sound mind than I am. Let me tell you, his body may have been giving out, but his mind has been sharp. But in his placement, we saw a decline, in him. And so my mother and I are conquering and dividing, and we said we're going to be there and we're going to support his mental health while they support his physical health, his like rehab stuff with PT and OT and all the things that they do. That's the story. When I talk about real, when I talk about raw, I'm telling you, this has been a week like no other for me. My eyes have been opened to the reality of this aging part of life and the difficulties. Not that I didn't know it, of course I knew it. Many of my friends have been going through this. I supported my in laws through this stage. I've been supporting my parents. But for some reason, maybe it's because I work and commit to living in the highest sense of awareness, like I'm tingling in awareness. I hope you are too, but if you're not, I want to urge you to get there because this is just another example of a place in our society today where you can make a difference. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know your purpose, if you don't feel on purpose, if you don't know your direction, and I'm saying that because many of my clients and many people who talk to me and find me and share with me tell me I don't feel that I have meaning in my life now. I don't feel on purpose. I feel that there's not purposefulness in my life. Go work and help out, volunteer in the senior community where you are. The need is gross. The need is desperate and dire. I'm not telling you you have to do that. I'm just giving you an option for something that you could do that is the most meaningful thing in the world. And I could feel the tears coming up. This is where you would be making a difference. Dignity, providing people, our seniors, with dignity in their lives. So it's not just our seniors, it's anyone, anywhere that you can help someone feel dignity. That is where you are going to find meaning and purpose and purposefulness in your life every moment of every day. You don't have to be there every moment of every day, but if you decide, if you come to awareness and you decide and you act, then you can know in your heart and your soul will know that you are making a difference. And that is putting yourself on the list again. I am going to introduce a tool for you if you follow me. And if you are, hi, friends, I love you. Thank you for following me. You may already know I'm going to share my tool on well-being. I don't care if you've already done it with me. Do it again. It's important. Why? Because through this tool or many other ways, you will take responsibility for your own well-being so that you are not giving your well-being to anyone else. And therefore, you will not hold anyone else responsible for your well being. In order for you to get out, to break out and break through the numbness that we feel from the overwhelm of the world events today, it takes putting you higher on the list. And one of the ways that you can do this is through your own well being. So, do you get me? Are you with me? Do you get what I'm talking about? Okay, now here we go. I'm doing this right now. Now, I was just saying to my great producer, Carter, that I haven't quite figured out all the timing element of these 12-minute segments and whatnot. So, I'm just going to ask you to bear with me. I'm going to do the best I can, and that's good enough for today. I'm proud of myself that I even got here. So, I'm just going to ask you to bear with me. Okay. So let's take a breath. Okay. Deep breath in and long breath out. Okay. I want to remind you that I am speaking directly to you now. And I am going to share something with you that is simple, easy, and effective for you to take responsibility for your own well being. And when you take responsibility for your own well being, it means you're not giving it to anyone else. And therefore, you don't hold anyone else responsible. And what? It's in your control. That's why I'm saying this is epic. Because what are people feeling today? And especially people in our demographic, we feel unseen, unheard, invisible, no longer on purpose, meaning gone out of life now that the kids are grown and gone, bored in our work, and just not having a sense of self. And so that's what we're doing here today. Okay, so let's do this, folks. Here we go. Take out some paper. I hope you have paper and pen. Always bring paper and pen when you come to hear Susan Axelrod, whether it's my radio show or whether you find me on my website, whatwillyourlegacybe.com, because there's a bunch of good stuff on there. There's videos, there's blogs, there's useful information. If you follow me on my Facebook page, Susan Axelrod, you follow me in my Live at 5 segment, every day, 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm there. Or if you read my books, here's one of my books, Your Job is to Be. I still want you to have pen and paper so that you can write and think. Okay, the well-being tool, 5 steps to your well-being. Here we go. Step number 1, decide and map, M-A-P. I'm big, big, big on mapping. I map everything now. I talk to my clients about it. I map out my life. I love it. But first, it starts from deciding. It starts from your deciding, I'm going to take responsibility for my own well-being. I'm done, giving my well-being to anyone else. All right. First is decide. Next, we're going to map. So I make everything I do is simple. Anyone who knows me knows with Susan, it's simple and it's low tech. Okay. So I have a worksheet that I created, and here it is. Now, don't worry if you're listening to this instead of watching on Facebook, I'm going to talk you right through it. But in case you're seeing me, I'm going to show it to you. Okay. It's just a piece of paper. And at the top, it says my well-being. And under my well-being, I have 7 columns. 7 columns. It's just a piece of paper. I just did it with marker. That's all it is. At the top, it says my well-being. And then there are 7 columns. And here's what I want you to write for the 7 columns. I'm going to say them quickly. If you need to listen to this again, no problem. It's archived as a podcast on my page. Here are the columns: personal, career, money, spiritual, health, family, and fun. I'll say them one more time. Don't worry, you can listen to the recording again. Personal, career, money, spiritual, health, family, and fun. That's your worksheet. This is a worksheet. Each column has one subject area. What you're going to do first in this first step in mapping is rate yourself. Give yourself a rating or a grade on how you feel your well-being is in each of those 7 areas. If one of them doesn't speak to you, cross it off. I don't care. If there's something else you want to add it on. I don't care, people. It's your well-being, not mine. Rate yourself or grade yourself. How do I feel in the area of my personal well-being? How do I feel in the area of my career well-being, etc., etc.? This is the first step. First, you're going to decide, and then you're going to map. Now, I'm going to move to the second step before we go to break, and we're going to continue this in the next segment. Okay? All right. That will give you a few minutes to think. Second step. This is a big one, folks. Take a breath, listen, pay attention. This second step is going to change your life. Set an intention. Set an intention. Set an intention for each area of your well-being. Yes, set an intention. I intend. That's what I want you to do. And that's the difference. That's where you take responsibility for yourself. So as an example, my intention for my personal well-being is this: as I rise, I stay centered and grounded. We're going to go to break quickly. Take a few minutes to think about this, and I will continue on the other side of break. It's your well being. This is all about you. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, friends. Welcome back. You know, I've been sitting here during the break, just quietly thinking, breathing myself, doing exactly what I asked you to do. And I want to let you know something. You know, when you do a radio show like this, it's all yours. Everything is on you. You decide, you commit, you decide, you choose what to say, you choose what to talk about. But what I want you to know is I'm living in the world of what I'm teaching. I wondered to myself, is it okay for me to teach one of my tools on the radio? I didn't really know the answer. I wasn't sure. I suppose I could have contacted Dr. Pat, who would have known, definitively given me the answer. But I learned from one of my mentors, Jen Lederer, in business, that the best way to go is to follow your own inner guidance system. And I bet if I asked Jen, she would be like, go right ahead, Susan. It's your show. Do what you want. And I bet Dr. Pat would have done the same thing. So I wasn't sure about sharing this tool with you on air, but let me tell you, there's one thing of which I am 100% certain. Your well being is your responsibility. And today, more than ever, we need you. We all need to take our responsibility for our own well being, to self actualize and take action about anything that moves you. So we're working on this well-being tool. We talked about the first step was decide and map. Decide and map it out. Create a worksheet. At the top, just write my well-being. And then there are 7 columns. The 7 columns are personal, career, financial, spiritual, health, family, and fun. Then I talked about rating or measuring your well being. Ask yourself, how am I doing in the area of my personal well being? How am I doing in the area of my physical or health well being? How is fun in my life? Is there fun in my life? Am I even on the scale of well being in fun in my life? And then in your on your spreadsheet, on your worksheet that you're creating, you create your measures so that you have your baseline start. And that's where you are. Now, in life, we have ups and downs, right? You heard me just begin to go down emotionally, talking about the lack of dignity my father is suffering in the place that he is, and come back up when I talked about the decision I made for myself to help him with dignity. And that's how it goes. So that's what the grading or measuring is. Just give yourself a measure. Don't beat up on yourself. Don't worry about anything. Keep it easy. The second step is the most important. Set an intention. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel about my personal well being? How do I want to feel about my spiritual well being? How do I want to feel about my family well being? And then you can set an intention. I started to say before the break, my personal intention, I've done this exercise. I keep this exercise current in my life. But see, it says personal. These are just handwritten pieces of scrap paper. My personal well being is this: my intention. As I rise and expand, I stay centered and grounded. That's my intention for my personal well being. So then I get to measure how I'm doing against my intention. So when you create that brief intention for each area of well being, I want to encourage you to write each one out individually, just like I showed you. Um, Here's another one for my career. See it? It says career, hand scribbled on top. And so this is a second one on a different piece of paper. It says, I breathe. My intention for my well being, my career well being, is I breathe and break through to expand to the next level. So you can write these on post-it notes, you can write these on pieces of scrap paper like I do, but the act of writing out, of figuring and determining that intention and writing it out is very, very important. It really will help you formulate and then set your intention. Intention setting is a part of all my work, especially in my personal coaching. And it is absolutely vital because it is what you yourself commit to. You activate your own brain, your own mind, and your heart, of course, and soul, and figure out what your own deeply personal intention is. And that is a very, very, very big form of activating your soul. And that's why this step is so important. Let's move on to step 3 now. Step 3 is focus. Focus, 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 focus. Yes, focus. I have an online course called what? Discovering You Again. And just yesterday, we had the second session of that 8-week weekly online course. And the topic was focus. Why? Why am I talking about focus? Because of the sporadic, chaotic nature of everything that goes on in our lives. Social media, this is something I think about. Of course, it is the basis of my work. I'm surely addicted to my phone at this point. I'm in some ways addicted to social media by way of telling myself it is my business. You are listening to me today because of my work on social media, but that still has me scrolling, 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 right? And so I am in very definite observation of people all around me scrolling, scrolling, scrolling on the phone. There's another thing that happens, and that is we don't read anymore because we're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And when your laptop comes on, even if you're in a webinar for your own continuing education, you're probably also likely doing something else, multitasking. So the step 3 of this is focus. Go deep, go deeper. What are you doing in the focus step? You are figuring out the why, WHY, why. You're figuring out your why for each one of your intentions. So for me, my career intention that I just read as an example, I intend to breathe and break through to expand to the next level. Why? Why do I breathe and break through to expand to the next level? So I can grow out my impact. So I can grow my body of work. I have 3 more books that I'm working on right now so that I can speak more, I can be heard more, I can motivate and inspire more. That's why I set that career intention. And so that's an example. So let me see, what is another one? Okay. So, my money intention, my financial or my money intention. I intend to grow income to support my business expansion. Why? For the same reasons that I grow out my public persona and my offering in my career, because I need money to financially support producing books, talking on the radio, going traveling places to speak and or whatever else I do in my business, paying for marketing, etc. So that's my why for that one. So that is step 3. Focus, focus, focus. Go deep and then know your why for each intention. and then this. You ready? Are you listening? Take a breath. I know this is very intense, but it's so important. Okay. Ask yourself every day this question. Ask yourself every day this question. Is my behavior today helping me meet my intention? Is my behavior today helping me to meet my own intention? That's a question for you to ask yourself. Okay? All right. So that's step 3, focus. Step 4 is commit. Decide, choose, and commit. Step 4 is commit. Decide, choose, commit. Figure out for yourself what it will look like for you to commit to being responsible for your own well-being in any one or all of those areas. Remember, when you take responsibility for your own well-being, then your life is in your control. You get to stop blaming others, and you get to be more on purpose. You get to be in a self-aware and self-actualized state. And so I want to ask you, what are you willing to do to meet your intention? What are you willing to do to meet your intention? This is a question that I really want to invite you to consider. Now, I realize this is a radio show, even though we're on Facebook. Hey, Facebook family. But I want to remind you that this show will be podcasted, right? All of my radio shows are archived on my page on transformationtalkradio.com. Now, we're going to have one more segment. We're going to go to break in a second. But before I do, I want to let you know that you can find me every day on Facebook under my name, Susan Axelrod. My website is What Will Your Legacy Be? I am a confidence coach. I help people using tools just like these to elevate their confidence and figure out exactly what they want to do, how they want to be, and how it will all go in the second half of life. So we're going to go to break, and I will see you on the other side for the final segment of our well-being tool. Hello again, folks. Still here. How about you? Are you still there? I hope so. This is important stuff that we're working on. Do you understand why I say this is important? This material is epic for you. I'm speaking directly to you right now. I want to thank you so much for joining me today on Discovering You Again Radio with Susan Axelrod. The work that I do with women in the second half of the life is just it's everything to me. Getting people really activated to find themselves again, to stop feeling invisible and start being on purpose. It's truly transformational. So I'm going to finish out this tool with you. Step 1, decide and map. Step 2, set your intention. Step 3, focus times 10. Step 4, commit, right? And I ended by saying, what are you willing to do to meet your intention? Now, finally, we come to step 5. Epic! Again, really. I'm not embellishing. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being melodramatic. This is big, folks. All right? Step 5, visualize. This is one of the things that most people never do. They never visualize to make it real. So I use visualization in all my own life. All of my achievements have come through visualization. I teach it in my coaching. I talk about it on Facebook. I use it all the time. I want to encourage you to learn about and practice visualization. Yes, what does that mean? It means this: you close your eyes and you picture what it is that you want. So for example, let me just take out let's see, what's another one of my all right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, sometimes I hate my life. Okay, reveal. Here's a reveal. Here's my spiritual goal. Can you see it's the chicken scratch? It says spiritual. Okay, so I'm human. Here's my spiritual goal that I set a few weeks ago, or I don't even know when it was, a month ago or whenever. Here it is. Are you ready? I intend to spend at least 1 hour a day in soul connection activity. F, what's my grade on that? Okay, maybe a D minus. Okay, so I can't get an A plus on everything. So I haven't done this, but guess what? I'm going to be doing it now, especially because we're coming into the high holy day season for me, and I will be spending a lot of time in synagogue. And so it's all going to count for my 1 hour a day in soul connection activity. So visualize. Let me say, what just happened here? Oh, this is so fun. I love this. What just happened? I had set an intention when I was reviewing it just now. I realized, whoa, hold on a second, Susan. You get an F in this. You haven't done an hour a day in soul connection activity. Okay, let me think about that. Do I walk the dog at least an hour a day? Oh, yes, I do. It may not be one solid hour at a time, but I surely walk the dog. Is walking the dog soul connection activity? Well, actually, yes, it is. So is soul connection activity spiritual? Well, yes, it is. Ooh, maybe I don't get an F. Maybe I get higher. Maybe I do get a higher grade now that I thought about that for a second. But I haven't sort of done that meditative prayer space, that I think of in my mind when I hear the word spiritual, right? So be careful with this. Words matter. Pay attention to your words and your thoughts, because maybe, like you just witnessed in real time, this is what we do on Discovering You Again Radio. We share truth, we reveal all. That on the one hand, I started giving myself an F, and then I realized, oh no, my time walking my dog is very soul connecting to me. I'm always in nature, and I'm with him, and I'm outside. It's beautiful, etc. So, what could I do? In step 5, visualize. What do I mean by spending an hour a day in soul connection activity? Close my mind. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that smell like? What does that seem like? What do I hear going on? Visualize your intention for each one of your areas. Visualize your intention. Career, I breathe and break through to expand to the next level. Visualize. What does it feel like to be like, okay, I'm invited to be part of a big documentary. It's going to be a major investment. I need to get a few new clients. How can I breathe and know that I will get the new clients to expand further out and break through in my career? Visualize it. And that's what I'm talking about for step 5. All right. So each intention needs time and space for you to visualize it through to the fruition. All right. So when, I'm realizing that this is one tool that I'm creating. This is actually a workshop that I'm working you through. I do this workshop. If you want to bring me in to do this workshop for your women's group or working with teenagers, I want to contact me. I would love to do this. This tool is so effective. It's so simple. It's so great. Anybody can do it. And along the way, I have embedded multiple tools. I have mapping embedded. I have intention setting embedded. I have uh, asking pertinent questions embedded. And now we have visualize, the tool of visualization embedded. So let's breathe. Okay. Step 5 is visualization. Visualize. Visualize each intention that that you set for each area of your life. Now, that is the whole tool. That is the tool, 5 steps, or the workshop, 5 steps to your well-being. Okay? I've done this on Facebook. I've done it in person. I've done it in my coaching. I use it all the time. But as you can see, it still serves me. I'm going to tell you another secret. Okay. So remember, for people who are listening to the radio, I'm holding up my worksheet that I held up before. And this is very interesting. Okay. Another reveal, people. Here's the real Susan. This is an old worksheet that I used in another thing that I did, I think on Facebook Live a few weeks ago. And look what happened here. In the middle, you can't see it on the radio, I'm going to tell you, but if you're on Facebook, look what happened. See the middle column? The middle column says spiritual. And what was the grade I gave myself then? A C. A C. So I went from less, below average to worse in my mind. I went from C at that time, I gave myself a C on that specific area. And then today, what did I start with? An F. Okay, I brought it up a little bit until I came to awareness and I focused on it and realized, wait a second, my dog walking is my, my spiritual connection. Okay, folks, we have come to the end. I hope that tool will serve you. Please go to my page on Transformation Talk Radio. Just search for Discovering You Again Radio, and you will find this episode podcasted so you can listen to it again and work through the tool. What is the point of all this? I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to say it calmly again. When you're in charge of your own well-being, you're putting yourself higher on your list. It is your list. It is your list of well-being. When you put yourself higher on your list, that is when you can really see yourself and therefore what? Be seen. That is when you can love yourself and therefore what? Allow yourself to be loved. That is when you can activate. That is when you can be in excruciating awareness of the opportunity of your life and the responsibility that you have, in my humble opinion, to the world. And that is when you can act. Now, I want to finish by letting you know that I have been doing a lot of work in the area of self-care. On October 16th, I am offering a free live webinar on self-care. That particular webinar is for nonprofit leaders, but I decided that I would let my listeners know about this webinar because these tools of self-care that I will share are for anyone. You can find the information about my free live self-care webinar on the announcement bar on my website. I will also be posting it on my Facebook page, and I will also be posting it on LinkedIn. If you're not linked with me on LinkedIn, please give me a shout. I love to be linked with people. I love LinkedIn. If you're not following me on Facebook, give me a like and a shout. My personal Facebook page is Susan Axelrod. I also have a Facebook page for my business called What Will Your Legacy Be? And that is something that I am always interested to hear from you. Okay, we made it. That's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me.
You've been listening to Discovering You Again Radio with Susan Axelrod on Transformation Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in as Susan Axelrod helps answer that burning middle-aged question, what now? Get ready to dive in and be radiant in your skin. Connect to a dialogue of fun, encouragement, and new ways to tackle your future. For more about Susan, go to www.whatwillyourlegacybe.com.